But yeah, I mean, in the tech field, oh man, yeah, it's evolved kind of, considerably, and it's nice to see, that dependency, on technology. But, again, I never imagined it would be used in this, to this fashion, which is cool and a little unsettling too, right? So it's everybody's taking it to the nth degree, especially with mobile technologies and so on. But again, crimes remain the same, and we've got to get ourselves, tuned to the approaches that are taken on, even in the digital world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like we're entering that. I can't even say that we're entering it. We've been in a data race for a while, and everybody's trying to snag up as much data as we can, not only to sell you ads, but eventually for the AI war that's going to be coming about 20 years from now.
Oh
They're
yeah.
they're laying down that data infrastructure, and that's one of the reasons why I like to talk with you, because being a cybersecurity expert, you have an insider view of what we can do to try and protect our data and try and be responsible citizens living in this cyber age.
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on right now, Jimmy, and I'll tell you, it's now more than ever. The threat vector has become super strong. I mean, right now we're looking at, healthcare industry being bombarded, not only from a COVID perspective, but they're also the prime target for cyber attacks and ransomware. And people died. That's the one thing that, it's starting to reveal, is that these devices and the networks are being on, they're getting compromised, and it's impacting life-sustaining systems. And it happened in Germany, and it's starting to happen here, and it's scary, because these guys, all they're interested in money. They don't give a damn about the human factor of it.
Well, and that's terrifying to think of as well, because you think of like 10 years from now, right after COVID's run its course,
Mhm.
how much more common respirators are going to be, and
Oh
we're
yeah.
with respirators that are on these Bluetooth networks. I mean, you could see those just being taken over and turned off.
Yeah, and it's scary. And hate to pick on healthcare as an example, but not that they have all this high tech gear, but oftentimes, to their credit and discredit, they hire from within
Hmm.
and they bring people up, but they're not. Oftentimes the very people who are supporting that infrastructure, they don't have the best practices in mind. They've never been trained, and again, they've come from the medical side of the field. They getting immersed in technology, having to reorient themselves. Again, their primary goal is to sustain things. Not oftentimes do they have the luxury of improving upon them too. So, and it's not of interest to a lot of these organizations. And unfortunately, now that they've been hit and slammed and rendered inoperative, they're going to start thinking probably a bit differently on their approach.
Yeah, I mean, you'd mentioned reorienting, and I feel that with everything advancing as fast as it is, that we're in a constant state of reorienting and getting caught up in
Oh
the realm
yeah.
of cybersecurity, because I mean, the black hats, they're always coming up with new innovative ways to get past what you've put up in place to stop them.
Yeah, and the prime targets are mobile devices. People are putting everything and anything on their mobile devices. They've got, they're doing their NFC payments through Google Pay or through Apple, what have you. And guess what, man? That's becoming. You put all your eggs in one basket. You make it easy for the fox to steal from the henhouse, and that's exactly what's going on here too. So you know, there's going to be a mass exploitation if we don't get our act together soon on the mobile platform. We've already seen the disruption of service in March, April, with Verizon taking the lead. But now healthcare is getting slammed. Government starting just recently confirmed being compromised to a degree, although they won't talk in great detail about it. So everybody's taking a hit, and it's classic example, Jimmy, of where people always want flood insurance after they've been flooded. So there's
Right.
no precautionary notes. There's no forward thinking because it's just simply not a priority.
And I don't understand how that's not a priority, because I get it. I watched the Mark Zuckerberg when he was in front of Senate. Our lawmakers have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, not even a little bit, and they can't even comprehend what's going on in a lot of these regards. But I mean, is it a fail of the regulatory state that we haven't kept up on this?
Yeah, it's a little bit of that. I mean, but you've got a cultural divide too. That's like, hey, we're going to put in all this legislation to protect your privacy, but here are these same people giving away all their information, taking selfies every 3 minutes. Again, for the unindoctrinated, you're helping a criminal or someone far more fiendish build a hell of a profile on you. And that terrifies me because, again, you're making yourself easy prey. I mean, these folks are chumming the waters every single day and not even realizing how close the great white sharks are swimming by them. And again, it's not a big deal. It's always going to happen to somebody else. But when it happens to you, it's going to take 7 to 8 years to recover your identity after that.
Right.
And some people just resort to changing their names because, again, it's just they've been so corrupted that there's almost practically no way out. And again, it's one of the things that people are doing right now to kind of remedy it, but they're not really remedying it. They're working around it. They're kind of stepping around the situation than actually trying to solve it.
So when they say that they're building profiles on you, are we talking about like information profiles, like they can open credit cards, stuff like that?
Yeah, well, they're building profiles because, for example, things that you say, things that you do, places that you visit. Well, again, they're building a catalog of words for one. So that's going to be your own little personal dictionary when they brute force your account. They'll use your logistics against you. They'll use your pet names because, again, people are, take the cute way of, identifying themselves with things that they know and have around them. So again, they make themselves really easy picking because, again, there's a level of predictability just based on the information that you share that you then reuse and apply in a almost semi-private manner, but it really isn't private when you think about it.
Right. Well, I mean, I noticed that there was a trend, I don't know, a couple years ago when like everybody I knew over the age of probably like 60 who that was on social media, I started noticing that they started having multiple accounts created in their names, right? So it'd be like one or two of their pictures, and then it would be, basically all the info that they could probably get from their Facebook profile. And I'd get a friend request, and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe they just forgot their password. So I'd kind of like watch that account, and then I'd get another friend request from the same person under a different account, just with a
Yeah.
different picture. So it sounds like there really are, if I'm understanding you, there sounds like they're just building these data profiles so you can create bots that are programmed to behave like you.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. And those same things again, working confidence against other people, and they just keep, accumulating these profiles. And again, one of the greatest things is those chain letters or chain messages. Hey, I bet you I can't get, a like, or if I can't get it shared just based on this. And
Right.
again, you're revealing something based on your actions. And again, for most people, it's like, hey, what's the harm in that? Do it 1,000 times, and guess what? You're going to start showing a little level of predictability along with that, and you're going to shoestring yourself to, eventually revealing, a lot more information about yourself than you wanted to.
Right. Well, I mean, particularly when they can, run them through these algorithms looking for things that, we might not, we might not think anybody would be interested in. Like I was watching, I forget the name of it, but I watched that documentary that came out about Cambridge Analytica, and
Mhm.
just how they utilized all these different quizzes that really had nothing to do with each other. They're just basic personality quizzes,
Yeah.
and how they use that to create these profiles, and then how they ran it through to identify, I want to say it was like 270 specific like traits they were looking for, behavior and personality wise. So it's man, it's like cyber psychology. It's insane.
It is a lot of psychology to it, and again, you're baiting yourself all the time and not even realizing it. So, I mean, if you look, for example, at my, whatever social media profile I have that I've shared with people, you're going to get only so much information ever, and it's pretty much purposely jailed because, again, it's my job to be paranoid, but more so, uh, given my role and what I do for a living, boy, it would be great to to topple and expunge someone like myself, and take away a lot of credibility on my part. So again, I'm overly cautious in that sense too. And there'd be nothing more wonderful than taking down a guy who wrote a book on social media security, right, and obliterating their profile and humiliating them. So I'm gonna always be on my guard, and hopefully I never get compromised. But it can never, you never can tell in these circumstances. It only takes one event.
Right. Right. And, this will be a good time for you to plug that book.
Oh, the seven deadly social media sins by Singris. Yeah, man, I did that book a while ago. It's kind of funny, and at first I was like, man, nobody's gonna. There's not much value in this book. I did it as kind of a favor to a friend of mine who was contractually obligated and fell behind the schedule. He's like, I need help, man. I need help. And I'm like, all right. So I backed him up, and then he departed off to the UK while I had to write all the damn chapters. Yeah, he left me holding the bag. That was, but it was a good experience all the same. He reciprocated. He bought me a nice bottle of whiskey.
There you go. So
Yeah.
then I got to ask you then, what are the seven deadly sins that people do on social media, and what would I don't know, what new ones would you add to that?
Oh man. So again, everything that we've touched on so far is part of that. I think one of the bigger things that people do that really kind of work against their undoing, and it's obvious, it's getting emotionally invested and letting people get your goat and getting bullied and so on. But it's funny because there's a technique by these individuals to try and harass you, then make you mad, and then make you tail them while they're already tailing you.
Right.
So, again, it's a classic tale. You're getting bullied, but after a while, you don't even realize that you're baiting yourself just based on your responses. And again, your continual threads. It's just there's a lot of emotional immaturity out there, especially in social media, and people prey on other people as a result, and they get off on bullying folks, and that's one of the more common things. Again, and it's part of the reveal. You self bait yourself by providing what you dislike and what you like all the time. And again, that kind of makes you an easy target for people who want to kind of flail on you there.
Yeah, I never really understood cyberbullying because I don't know, back in my day, like you had to bully someone to their face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, well, you're a real badass behind the keyboard that you
Yeah, that's
eating
what I'm
Cheetos
saying.
laying on your ass. But it's one of those things. But a lot of folks don't see it that way. And a lot of the younger generation, like, well, this is a primary method of communication. And they've been kind of they've been in this virtual box for as long as they can remember. So it's everything to them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing that I've noticed, and I'm a millennial, so I would even say it's not even a shift between like millennial and like Gen Z, but
Hmm.
it's a shift between like the older millennials and the younger millennials is that, the guy is like me who are born in the 80s and can still remember it.
Yeah,
When I go on the internet, I still think of it as I'm going on the internet.
yeah,
I'm going onto a place. I'm going onto a thing. My profile isn't me. It's not real life. It's just a
yeah.
profile. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
But
Avatar.
yeah, but you get to someone who's on the other side of the millennial generation. Someone in like their early to mid 20s, like they incorporate that into their identity, and then Gen Z, it's even more so. And
Yeah.
it's almost like a bad episode of Black Mirror. People believe that social media is real life, and it isn't. It's just a website. None of
Yeah.
that pertains to what you're. Well, I mean, I can't say nothing on social media pertains to your real life. Some people do have employers and shit that'll check their social media accounts. I don't want to overlook anything like
Oh,
that.
hell yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like, if these foul players, as we were talking earlier, have these, or are building these data psych profiles on us, and then they can program bots with what they know will get our goat to engage with us. I mean,
Mhm.
they're just they're just edging us on into engaging in that behavior pattern that they want us to display.
Yeah. You bet. Exactly. And it's just a lot of baiting. It's, you'll see it whether it's, based on, I guess just all the aspects. So it's just based on appearance. There's baiting with that. There's baiting on race. There's baiting on gender. You know, a lot of these guys, a lot of these folks out there, they're trying to draw in the flies to the candy here, and it works pretty effectively. And again, some people are just ranting, but there's other people who have um, what I would call, other motives in mind, with those tactics that they do.
Right. Well, I feel like a lot of like the outrage in our culture right now. I wonder how much of that is just programmed into that because I don't know. I feel like a lot of the media and the news that we get
Mhm.
nowadays is just responding to what's occurring on Twitter and what's trending. But what's trending and what's going on Twitter isn't necessarily real because Twitter has all sorts of bots that cause things to trend based on whatever they want them to.
Mhm.
Um, so I wonder how much of this outrage culture that we're really having right now is actually authentic.
Well, I mean, this is hard to back up, and it's going to sound anecdotal, but um, a lot of society is being played right now. They don't even realize it. Okay, there are actors out there that are playing a game and keeping people diverted for various reasons and keeping them active and hostile. And part of the reason is it's all about control.
Right.
So if I can keep you mad, I can keep you artificially outraged. If I can keep you artificially following trends, um, well, that keeps you diverted from other things, right? It keeps your eyes and your ears in one direction, and other activities can occur. So I don't want to sound overly paranoid about it, but again, you know, that's a classic example of of intelligence working against people. I mean, the spy ring has been working on this for years, Jimmy, and this type of social engineering is classic. They've been working people, whether it's by newspaper or now by social forums, that we're seeing in social media. I mean, the game, it's nothing new. It's just a bit more effective because a lot more people are on
Right.
it, and we're more linked to one another with respect to that same information, which is a little bit different from how it was 40, 50 years ago, right? And then our words were our exchange. That was more direct, but now it's indirect. Okay, you're leveraging a fourth dimensional platform in which to get people engaged and collaborative in that fashion, and oftentimes it's geared and oftentimes in the wrong direction, and they don't even realize it. It's really kind of sad, but it's I hate I keep stressing this, but people are getting played.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if you can control someone's outrage and you can control someone's emotional response, by that response, you can control their narrative, right?
Yeah, all their triggers.
Yeah. And once you know all their triggers, it's easy to play someone. But it's the thing that, I just find amazing is how they're able to not only realize the triggers of an individual person, but realize the pattern of triggers within a certain subculture or within a larger society that allows them to have a mass effect.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you've seen this in other countries where people have, again, protested in mass and so on throughout the years, and they've used things like Twitter and low bandwidth solutions like Twitter to gather and plan and scheme and so on. But in reality, those people who were, especially in other countries like, for example, the Middle East,
Mhm.
they were far more effective out there with their methods than people that have been for the most part here.
Yeah.
So there's a little difference there with that because again, there's a little more, how do I put it, genuine struggle in those countries in contrast to ours.